Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to Peter's Movie Club, where every Friday I react to the movie that I picked for the previous week, and then I also announce the movie for next week. All the movies that I am picking are available on Tubi. I picked Tubi because Tubi is a free streaming app. It has some commercials in there, but it is a free streaming app that has a bunch of movies and TV shows. It's available in Mexico, United States, Canada, parts of the UK, parts of Europe, and other places around the world. All the movies that I'm picking you can also find on other streaming apps like Amazon, Netflix. A lot of them are on YouTube as well for free. So a lot of people are saying, I can't find this, I don't have Tubi and whatever, but they're also available in a lot of other places. So don't get discouraged if you don't have Tubi or you don't have access to Tubi. There are other places that you can find these movies as well. So last week's movie that I picked was Showgirls. So let me tell you how I came up with Showgirls last week. So we went to Las Vegas for our anniversary. We celebrated 16 years together and 13 years married last Sunday. And so I wanted to watch a movie that was kind of Vegas themed because we were going to Las Vegas. And so I thought, well, I'll watch the movie while I'm there and I'll be really excited watching a movie about Vegas while I'm in Vegas. And I had a couple different movies that I wanted to watch. One of my favorite movies about Las Vegas, although it's tragic and sad, is Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage. And I really, really wanted to watch that movie. It's not available on Tubi, so I didn't pick that movie. I also wanted to pick the Miss Congeniality movies. I was going to pick Miss Congeniality 1 and 2 and do a double feature. They had been on Tubi, but they are currently not. I think 2 is available, but not 1 is available on Tubi. So I was like, no, I'm not going to pick those. Then I wanted to do the Oceans movies, like Oceans 11. I love those movies as well. I love all the Las Vegas movies. So I wanted to pick the Oceans movies, but they are not available. I think the original from like the 1940s or 50s, that original Ocean's 11 movie is available, but the newer ones with, Julia Roberts and Brad Pitt and, I'm like spacing it. Why can't I think of his name? Oh God, the guy. Okay, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But I wanted to pick those, but why can't I think of his name now? Oh gosh, why? He started on Roseanne. What's going on? I can't think of his. Now I'm gonna have to look this up because this is gonna drive me crazy. It starts with a G. George, Ocean's 11 cast. Okay, Ocean's. It says Ocean's 8 cast. Okay, what is this? George Clooney. I'm not even there yet. But George Clooney is in those as well. I think he might be on the second one. Is George Clooney in those movies? Why am I thinking he's in those movies? Oh, this is the Ocean's 8. Okay, that's all the women. I love those too. I think that one takes place in New York City, right? Ocean's 11 cast. Is George Clooney in that? Yes, George Clooney is in it. George Clooney's at the beginning of it with Julia Roberts. Why am I forgetting that? So anyway, I wanted to pick a Vegas-themed movie. Well, none of those movies were available, so I literally put into Tubi, I put like Vegas to see what movies would pull in, and it pulled up a lot of really, really bad movies, but it had Showgirls on there, and I was like, oh, Showgirls, like this movie is so bad, and I loved it back in the day, and I haven't watched Showgirls in a long time, so I'll pick that. Well, I downloaded it. You can't download Tubi movies. Like, you can't download them to watch them offline. I don't think you can, but you couldn't with Showgirls at least. So I had to download. I think I watched it on Max. I downloaded it before we left, and so this is what happened, okay? So I actually rented the movie A Quiet Place, which is now available for free on Max. It just came out, but I paid to rent it. And I got on the plane and I realized that I hadn't downloaded it. I had rented it, but I hadn't downloaded it. So I was like binge watching Sister Wives, and I was so bored with that. And so I was like, I gotta watch a movie or something. So the only movie that I had downloaded was Showgirls. So I ended up watching Showgirls before we even got to Las Vegas, before I even announced it last week, because I pre-filmed the video. I watched Showgirls flying into Las Vegas last week. And it was actually kind of fun to watch, getting ready to go into Las Vegas. It was a fun movie to watch. I forgot how horrible this movie was. Now, I know that Elizabeth Berkley, who's the star of it, she played Jessie on Saved by the Bell, and this was kind of her movie to kind of come out and show that she was an adult now. She was no longer just Jessie from Saved by the Bell. She's come out and she's had a lot to say about this movie in retrospect, but I'm not going to get into that today. I mean, that's more of kind of like a drama video. But I forgot how really, really bad this movie was. Now, I'll have to tell you, one of my favorite things about Showgirls is Gina Gershon. I love, love, love Gina Gershon. Gina Gershon is probably one of my favorite actresses of life. I forgot how mean she is in this movie, though. I mean, she's really, really mean. What was so funny watching it was, though, like, do you ever watch stuff online and, like, you're really embarrassed for that person? Like, Elizabeth Berkley, like, everything she does is so over the top in the movie. Like, I mean, it's literally laughable. Like, if you watched it this week, you'll know what I'm talking about. I had kind of forgotten this about her. It's like, whenever she gets up from a table, it's like she throws these fries and she pushes the table away and she does this. And it's like, all her dance moves are like, boom, 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 boom. It's like everything, she's always like, It's like she's so over-exaggerated, everything. It's so embarrassing to watch. I'm like, how did you not watch back the dailies and not just laugh? I mean, everything she does, she's like so mad about it. It's like, She's like so pissed about everything. So anyway, I watched Showgirls. So for those of you that didn't watch it and don't know what it's about, Showgirls is about this girl, and she goes to Las Vegas with the idea that she wants to be this dancer and this, like, you know, showgirl routine in the Vegas Strip. But she ends up being a stripper for the strip club, and then she ends up being in the chorus line for the show because the woman that's the lead, she like becomes kind of hot for her. Anyway, it's not the greatest show, but it's interesting because at one point, the guy that was her boss at the strip club and the MC, the woman that she was friends with from the strip club, I did take some notes. I don't know why I took notes on this. But she comes there and she says to her, or he says to her, her old boss, like they go see the show, and this is at the point where she is like now, like she's pushed down Gina Gershon, so she's now the star of the show, right? I think that lasts like a day, and then she leaves Vegas or whatever. And the Vegas starts with her stuff getting stolen in the pickup truck, and then when it leaves, I forgot about this part. And until like it came up to that part, and then I was like, oh, I remember how this ends. She gets it in the pickup truck of the guy that stole her stuff. That's how the whole thing starts, with her in Vegas, and then she meets this girl that she ends up moving in with, and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, her old boss says to her, it must be weird to not have them see on you, like, you know, whatever, like to be dancing for these guys. And basically what he's saying is, you've sold out either way. Like, at least when you were working at the strip club, you knew what you were doing. Like, you knew that you were getting paid to do this. But here, like, you're basically doing the exact same thing. You're just getting paid different amounts of money. It kind of reminded me back in the day of, do you guys remember the quote? I think it was Mae West that said this quote where, or I can't remember who it was that said this quote, but something about like, would you sleep with me for $10? And the person was like, $10? No, absolutely not. And then what about 50? Well, 50, okay. So, and the person looks at him and says, what's the difference? Well, you've already agreed that you're willing to sleep with me. Now we're just negotiating the price. And that is kind of the whole sentiment behind Showgirls, right? It's like, whether you're a showgirl getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and living in a great apartment, or whether you're, you know, a dancer at a strip club, that you're basically doing the same thing, right? And I thought it was kind of like an interesting sentiment, especially having lived with a lot of dancers in my life. For those of you that don't know, I've had several friends of mine that were dancers that I lived with. And one of my friends, who now, she speaks out a lot about the sex industry and her experience working in the sex industry and things like that. She actually moved to Los Angeles with another friend of mine, and they were both doing what is called outcall, which is where, I don't know if they do it anymore, but back in the day, this would have been like in the mid-90s to 2000s, you get called to somebody's hotel room or somebody's apartment, and like your driver stands outside the door for safety, and then you basically just, like, it's a one-on-one dance, and you get paid a huge amount of money. And I can remember my friend saying to me, like, when she got out of it, because the moment for her was, she said that she was like dancing and this guy was doing his stuff and whatever, and she just was like, she would pick a point on the wall and dance to it. And she said, I didn't think that a review of Showgirls would get this serious, but anyway, she called me and she said, I'm done. And I said, what happened? And she said, I was sitting there dancing. She was like, I would pick a point on the wall and look at it because I couldn't look at the guys. And she said, I just was thinking to myself, this is not what my parents imagined for me when I was like 4 years old. And she's like, I'm done. She's like, I think with the sex industry, once you cross a certain line, you can't ever go back. I thought it was interesting, like in retrospect, watching this movie, because as stupid as the movie is, as horrific as Elizabeth Berkley's acting is, that's really the sentiment of the movie, right? That, like, once you sell certain parts of yourself off, you can never get them back. I think it's an interesting sentiment watching a silly movie like that, but I did get very serious watching it. It was fun watching this movie, though, and then going to Las Vegas afterwards. So it was really fun, like, seeing a lot of things and whatever, and so, like, I was, like, Alex was sitting next to me and I was watching it. Oh, I also watched the documentary, and it's called Without a Net, or Cirque du Soleil Without a Net, and it's about how the show O at the Bellagio, like, after the lockdown, it came back, and how they really struggled with it coming back. It was fun watching both of those two things flying into Las Vegas. That was the other thing that I had downloaded that I watched. So I did watch both of those. I did not think that Showgirls was the greatest movie in the entire world. I don't think that I ever need to see it again, but I will say this. Like, I mean, if I was, like, going to bed and it was on the TV and while I was staying in Las Vegas, I would watch it. It was a fun show to watch while I was, like, going to Las Vegas, but it's very sad, too. But it's so ridiculous that it's almost kind of hard to get sad about it. Like, leaving Las Vegas is sad, you know? I was telling Alex about it. He's like, isn't that the show or the movie where the guy goes to Las Vegas to die? And I was like, yeah, from drinking. It's completely about alcoholism. So anyway, we might pick that movie at some point if it comes onto Tubi, but this week was Showgirl, and it was not good. Which brings me to this week's movie, okay? Now, what's really weird about this movie that I'm going to pick for this week is that this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch, like, this whole summer. I have to tell you, I've watched, so there's the original, and then there's a remake that came out, like, I think, like, 20 years later. I've watched both of them. I actually think they're both really well done. They're very bizarre movies, and not bizarre in, like, the story of it, but just the concept of it is kind of, like, very bizarre, dark, but they're really good kind of, like, thriller movies. What's so interesting is, so the movie that I'm picking for this week is Gloria, the original with Gena Rowlands. What's weird about this is that before I picked Showgirls, I was like, what would be a movie that's kind of about a big city and whatever, and I thought, oh, Gloria has been on my list for, like, months now, right? And I was, like, looking around, and it was interesting because on Facebook, I saw that somebody had posted Gloria, like the movie poster of Gloria. This was, like, the week before we left. And then on Instagram, I saw that Sandra Bernhardt, who's one of my favorite people in life, like, and I follow her on Instagram and stuff like that, she had posted the poster of Gloria. And I was like, and I didn't read the captions of what people wrote, and I was like, why are all these people posting this poster of Gloria? This is so weird. Like, several times while picking movies, it's like, I'll see stuff posted about it, and so I'm like, well, maybe this is the movie that I'm supposed to pick. So before we went to Las Vegas, I was like, I want to pick a Las Vegas themed movie, so when we get back from Las Vegas, I'm going to pick Gloria. Then I started seeing all these posters come up, and I was like, this is so interesting. So by the third time that I saw it, I was like, let me look at this. Well, what I had found out was that Gena Rowlands passed away on August 14th of this year. I think she was 96 years old, sadly. She passed away, and I love Gena Rowlands, the actress. She's one of my favorite actresses of life. And so I thought, in honor of Gena Rowlands, I'm going to pick Gloria this week. I mean, I already kind of decided that, but I was kind of going back and forth between 2 or 3 movies. And so this week's movie is Gloria, the original with Gena Rowlands. Now, there was a remake that was done with Sharon Stone several years later. I think they're both really well done. I'm also a huge Sharon Stone fan. I mean, Basic Instinct is probably one of my favorite movies of life. And yes, it's on our list to watch. And it is on Tubi. But don't watch it yet, because I'm going to pick it. But I love Sharon Stone and Gloria, but the original just is so unbelievably done. So the movie for this week is hold on a second, let me pull it up. The movie for this week is Gloria. Here it is the post, starting. It came out in 1980. It's 2 hours and 1 minute long. It's considered a crime drama. And it was directed by John Cassavetes. And it's an ex-mob mistress caring for a young boy after his family is wiped out by the mafia must rely on her street savvy to keep a target off their backs. And now I don't remember, I haven't watched the original Gloria in years and years and years. I remember the one with Sharon Stone. I think they start off differently, but I could be wrong. Sharon Stone gets out of prison, and she's taken the fall for her boyfriend that's, like, in the mob. And so she goes back to him to basically get her money and her things like that, and then she's done with him because he's, like, never come to visit her. He's got, like, a new girlfriend. And then as she's, like, going out, so something happens. It's very similar, I think, the first one. Gloria is like dating somebody in the mob or working for them, but then it's like this kid is the only person left when the mob takes out his family. And so Gloria is protecting this little boy, and they're basically on the run through the streets of New York City. It's fantastically done. It's very dark, but it's really, really well done. I think I haven't watched it in years and years. I mean, it's probably been, I bet I haven't watched this movie in 25 years, maybe even longer, the original. So anyway, this week's movie is Gloria with Gina Rollins in honor of her passing. So let me know if you're going to watch it in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.